Hails and welcome to Rauta's Indie 5. This time we have 5 different bands, mostly this time dominated by black metal and death metal. First we'll head to UK with a band called Gravemiasma with Abyss of Wrathful Deities. This one has a really cool cover in my opinion. There is something that strikes me with the choice of colors as well as the theme with those, staring eyes. This one is old school death metal and more into American style. There is a reason why this band has been compared to such names as Incantation and Immolation. It's dark, it's twisty, curly and all that stuff, and it's mostly built on atmosphere that is dark and heavy. Now the downside is, none of these riffs and songs are exactly memorable. I kind of understand why people would be hyping this one. After all, you can never get too much of certain given style, and in case that is this kind of a curvier and hairier style that Incantation and Immolation and the other likes have been putting out, then there's no reason why to deny this. But there are other critics also who say that Gravemiasma isn't exactly reaching the heights it is supposed to. There are parts when this feels like, yes, it's gonna nail it. But the more I gave this one spins, I felt like, yeah, this is not exactly recycled material, but more like I've heard this stuff so many times, and in case there are no, hooks to go under my skin and really get me captivated, I don't know why I would go back to this. Basically, the production is pretty solid and can't really bitch about the vocals, but the music is just like one of those iterations. Heard that so many times. Decent, but not exactly a good album. And then we head to Mexico with an album by Hagel, Venerations of the Black Light. This is one of the curious case because this Mexican band started in the 90s, but before they got anything worthwhile out, they disbanded, only to come back later, years and years ago, years and years after being broke up. And in 2021 they got this album out finally. Now, is it worth the wait? Definitely not. This is something that people have described as doom and black metal, but to be honest, that is more like a new way to describe things that were just, a keyboard black metal in mid-tempo back in the 90s. It gets confusing if you really start think about it in nowadays terms. Like back in the days, this was just, mid-tempo black metal. Lots of synths, melodies and all that stuff. Kind of a dramatic, but not exactly my dying bride gone black metal. Everything here is very, very mediocre. Be it, songwriting, sound, just everything. Nothing really indicates any kind of passion, quality, or all that stuff. Not that this is bad, but it is a very lukewarm experience overall because it feels like it's something that is more like a leftover demo material. The thing here is, this could have made an impact back in, 1995 or so, but 2021 it's like too late to the game. The bar has been raised so many times and there's so many bands that just do a lot of better material in this given style. Now, if you have a soft spot for that kind of a B-class 1990s synth or keyboard infused melodic black metal and you don't care about fast tempo but kind of like to more slowed down, mid-tempo mostly, then this is your cup of tea. But other than that, can't really recommend that one. Then we have this band called Opposite Devotion, Hesperus, Phosphorus. This comes with a really, really beautiful packaging and I was already stoked in order to just get this one out of the box. Not only is it a cool looking slipcase, but this digipack is even more beautiful. Now, I had high expectations for this kind of album because it just folds out nicely. As you can see, this one is technically speaking an inverted cross digipack. Looks pretty damn cool if you ask me. You have all the lyrics, everything here listed. So it's beautiful cardboard digipack, inverted cross style indeed. Now, if this got me going, I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. But in fact, it's quite contrary. The thing here is, this is one of those black metal bands that has kind of a little bit of a death metal in it. And the sound is more like, get back in time some 20 years. And when experimenting with new studio software and, drum sounds and everything was probably, wow, something new. but it makes this album sound quite horrible, especially the snare sound with the drums is like, what the hell are you doing? It's not strong, it's not even weird, it's just bad. And the same could be applied to many things on this album. The drums overall are quite bad, and the guitars kind of also sound weak, lack of power. This one seems to be going with two tricks. Yeah, let's do a lot of melodies, have double vocals. It's like all over happening some 25 years ago, like when death and black metal bands kind of started to get back together and people are figuring out, hey, death black metal, that could be even more extreme than pure black metal or pure death metal. Even though a lot of things were separating these two entities back in early 90s. And now suddenly, boom, let's get them together. This could have been interesting, I don't know, some 25 years ago, you know, when bands like Belphegor and, you know, bands like that were doing waves or whatever, or before some of the black metal bands actually turned into death metal bands. Remember Behemoth's death metal phase? Exactly. But this is mediocrity. I mean, horrible production in some points and mediocre songwriting. Like, for example, lots of the riffs are really, really simple. So it's like taking first wave of black metal riffs akin to Bathory or Celtic Frost or whatever, and then adding some early 2000s or late 90s kind of weird ideas with production. Is like, don't do it, man. It's not horrible. I know I sounded really, really negative, but I mean, it's very listenable. But we're not really beyond average mediocrity. So kind of a miss album in that sense. A little bit better things are with this Belgian band Slytherin Decay, which is obviously some kind of a successor to Sunlight Studio sound. Yes, bands like Grave, Entombed, Dismember, etc. have been playing their part here in order to inspire Slytherin Decay. This is the debut album by the band, so obviously a lot of things are forgiven in that sense, because Aeons Untold, the name of the album, I mean, it's kind of a given. This is the first album, and they are very much like testing the water, like how it goes, like can we do old school death metal sound. It's more like Boss HM2 pedal is being introduced, just in order to emulate this Sunlight Studio sound. The songwriting is pretty okay. There's nothing to bitch about really. I mean, if you like those bands mentioned before, you know pretty much what to expect. Now the downside is, why would you pick a copycat over those classic albums? I mean, I'd rather listen to early Dismember or Entombed or Grave or, I don't know, Vomitory instead of going Slytherin Decay. Nothing is badly done, nothing is badly executed, and the production is actually very, very solid. But beyond this, it's like, yeah, it's just one of those Swedish death metal revival kind of things. Nothing out of ordinary, but if you love the genre and you want to get it more beyond the classic albums, that's the way to go. The last and definitely not least of this pile comes from Finland, and this is Wolfshuffler Edition, a new band or sort of a kind of a side project, possibly, given the lineup. This comes from Finland, and the style is fast tempo, melodic black metal. This is actually a combination of various bands, like for instance, curiously enough, there is a melody that reminds me Sentenced, like as it was totally copied from the band. But the rest of it, more like Marduk meet Dark Funeral, and especially emphasizing the Dark Funeral side. The thing here is it's pretty much constantly fast tempo with a little bit of letting it go a little bit more just fast mid-tempo instead of totally blasting all the way, but mostly it's melodic black metal, very, very fastly played. And especially the more intense parts remind me of, Marduk's albums like Panzer Division Marduk, when things go really, really fast and intense. But mostly it's reminding me of Dark Funeral, how the melodies are used and how it's constantly blasting away. And also Sielunvihollinen has been compared to this band because lots of melodies. Now this isn't as catchy as that, and because of the fast tempo constantly being there dominating the album, mostly Dark Funeral is happening here. Now I'm a little bit divided on this album because on the other hand it is nice to hear some fierce and fast playing, and there are lots of good ideas. But the thing here is, going for almost 60 minutes of this kind of stuff gets a little bit boring after a while. And the use of double vocals, the kind of half growly vocals, are not that good, even though the black raspy ones are pretty much solid and something enjoyable in this context. So it's more like 2/3 success, if you get my meaning, and 1/3 is not so much. But definitely an interesting album and worth listening to, and especially if you like melodic, fast tempo black metal. So out of this 5 albums pile, I would say Wolves of Perdition is the winner, and the runner-up, Slytherin Decay. Now obviously you decide which ones are your cup of tea, and you will find links provided in the description box, so click those links and listen to the music, and if you like them, buy them. That's what I like to say. Thanks for watching the review. Should you have any comments or questions regarding the bands and albums in questions, let me know. Put a comment in the comment box below. See you soon. Bye bye.